Scary Stories.
So Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is a book adaptation, adaptation from a book series that I just so happen to have. And it tells a story about a group of kids in 1968 who go to a haunted house and they find a book of scary stories, and when they open it, it starts writing stories of its own right there on the spot, and they become real. What it writes becomes real. Most of the stories from this movie come from the third book, I've realized, because I just read these like last month, and these were very popular books in the 80s and 90s, and even into the 2000s. My sister read all these books when I was a little kid. I never read them myself until recently, but I always remember the pictures, and that's what anyone who knows these books remembers, is the pictures. But the ones from this movie are Harold, Dream, and the Red Spot. And there's like one other one, but that's not a spoiler because it's all in the trailer, and that's one negative I'll give this film, is that everything's spoiled in the trailers. I thought there would be at least a couple extra stories in the movie, but all the stories that are told are in the fucking trailer. But the things I do like about this movie is that it's pretty dark for PG-13. When I heard it was PG-13, I was like, ugh! But surprisingly enough, this movie is pretty dark. There's some pretty good atmosphere. It's really moody and dark, and it's very darkly lit, and that could be a kind of a negative sometimes because it's sometimes too dark. I love the tension building, the camera work to help build that tension, especially in the big toe scene. There was even a chick in the theater who was like squealing, just nervous about what was about to happen. And I love the continuity that they have with the book. They actually make these monsters look exactly like the freaking book. And I was like, that looks just like that photo I saw. They do change the stories, like what happens in them, so don't expect it to be beat by beat because it's not going to be like the book at all. In the book, Harold, apparently the scarecrow like skins a guy, and this one, no skinning. And then that big old pale face lady with the big old smile, she just like says something in the book, and then the lady runs away. And this one, it's a guy, and he doesn't get to run away. This movie takes place in 1968. I don't know why. It doesn't really play into the story too much or in a necessary way to like help them. And I don't know, it's just kind of there for looks, I guess, atmosphere. But it does look nice to go to a drive-in. You see all these old 60s cars, just like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We got 2 movies this summer set in the late 60s. And I will say that the acting for the kids is good, especially the main girl. She has to put on a hell of a performance because she's always crying. I thought her performance was pretty good for the most part. Lots of emotion from her. But the things I do not like about this movie, little nitpicks and some criticisms. Why is it that 3 of these monsters can teleport, but then the one does not? So that, what, this guy can get away? Just seems convenient to me. You get a couple of dumbass character decisions. There's moments where you're like, why are you doing this when you could be doing that? Why aren't you helping your friend? Why are you sitting on your ass? Go fucking do something. You got a guy who's scared that he's about to die, so what does he do? He breaks away from his friends and he just wants to be all alone. It's like, well, now you got no one to help you, dipshit. This movie's PG-13. It could have been bloody. It could have been more like the book, especially with that skinning thing. It could have been bloody, but they didn't go for it. There's a couple of deaths in this movie, and there's one that I feel like could have been done longer, and the CGI could have been better. There's some shoddy CGI here and there. It's decent overall, but there's some moments where I'm like, that's not that good. And like I kind of said before, it's kind of dark. Like, especially in the mansion, sometimes it gets so dark for so long that I actually had a hard time seeing what was going on, and I was in the second row with glasses on, so I could see everything 20/20, and I was still kind of like, what the fuck is even here? We get one character who's supposed to be comic relief, and I heard that from someone before I went in, like there was a funny character, and I was like, who is it? Because I'm not laughing. There's nobody funny.
Okay, we saw it. Should we go now?
Who ordered the chicken?
There was plenty of moments where I was like trying to go for a laugh, but I just wasn't laughing. It just wasn't landing for me. And I gotta say that the whole overall story behind the book and why it's happening and blah blah blah, that was the most uninteresting part of the whole movie. Every time there was like a story being written and it was it was happening, and like the scarecrow was attacking, the pale faced lady was attacking, the jangly man, all that stuff, the girl with the missing big toe, all that stuff was great. But everything in between the stories, where they're like, all right, let's research it, and then a story would happen. It would be interesting, and then they're like, all right, let's research it again. Every time they went back to like, let's research Sarah Bellows, I was like, I don't care. It wasn't an interesting story. It wasn't interesting lore. I just found myself bored by it, and it was just kind of generic. And then the way they end this movie with like how they stop this thing, it's just kind of dumb. There's even 2 characters where they're kind of like hinting at this relationship between them. Like one likes the other, and it kind of seems like the other one likes that one at one point, and then that goes nowhere because shit happens. But overall, I had a decent time with this movie. It wasn't terrible, but it's not one I would go running to right away. So I'll say when it comes to scary stories to tell in the dark, maybe just check this one out at Redbox. And those are my quick thoughts on scary stories to tell in the dark. The writers of Saw apparently had a hand in this. I didn't see it. They're usually dark writers. This wasn't that dark, but still pretty dark for a PG-13 horror movie. Speaking of which, what's your favorite PG-13 horror movie? Let me know in the comments below, and also what was your favorite story in this movie? Mine was Harold. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Hit this like button and share it with all your friends to see. In case you're new to this channel, I do ranking videos and I do horror movie reviews every Wednesday, franchises especially, and I do new movie reviews, sometimes trailer reactions, and all kinds of stuff. But anyways, if you wish to become a subscriber, you can do so just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.